Hello everyone, my name is Kate Marshall. The name of my channel is called Inked Paper Art, and today is day 60 of 365 days of junk journal ideas. As you can see, I have been working in one of these blue journals. I am about ready to sew the signature into the other two covers. If you've been following along on this series on my channel, I make 3 journals at a time, 3 of the same style journals. So I have one where I've sewn the signature in. I haven't done any decorating yet. We constructed the cover. I will make a video on the cover for the 365 series too, but we're going to start working on getting the signature sewn in. And the first part, so today's video, is how to reinforce all of your little antique book pages, all of your ledger page, how to reinforce any page to sew into the signature. So your printed digital pages, like this is a printed digital page, your new paper is probably sturdy enough where you don't need to reinforce it. But if you wanted to reinforce something that's thinner, like these paper doilies, you could reinforce that. You could reinforce any type of, this is antique ledger. You could reinforce that. I'm going to primarily focus on reinforcing these book pages. These are hundreds of years old antique rag paper book pages. And so they often need reinforced when they come out of the books. And I will do a video on how to deconstruct antique books and pull the signature pages out like this. But when you deconstruct them, sometimes it tears down the center. Sometimes it doesn't come out, as one nice solid fold. Even if it does, it's a good idea to reinforce antique book pages. So that's what this video is about, is the best way to reinforce any vintage or antique page, any thin paper page, any of that kind of thin stuff is going to get reinforced. So that's what we're going to work on today. Then tomorrow's video is going to be about how to construct your signature. So this paper part right here, the paper part is considered a signature in a book. So it's one signature because it's sewn in the center one time. Now journals can have multiple signatures, etc. But we're going to work on, before we move to like sewing in 3 or 5 signatures or whatever, we're going to work on one signature at a time. So today we're going to reinforce pages, and then tomorrow I will sew the pages in. So what do you want to reinforce? So here's all of the pages and the extra covers for the next 2 journals that I have to build. So there's that. We're going to talk about what we need to reinforce first. So you could reinforce your little glassine bags. These are some coffee dyed glassine bags. I don't feel like I need to reinforce them. This is onion skin. It is thin and you could reinforce it. I'm not going to reinforce that. Normally what I'm focused on reinforcing are these antique book pages. So I'm going to hold those off to the side and we will reinforce those. I knew there were a couple more in here, so I dug out all of those. And then I've got like antique ledger page. All of this stuff goes in those journals. So, and then there's my signature pages down there. Okay, so we're going to talk about reinforcing antique book pages primarily today, although there may be other things that you want to reinforce. First of all, what do I mean by reinforcing? So because those pages were sewn into a signature, let me explain it in better detail. When you take apart a book, an antique book, the pages in almost every book that is vintage or antique, they're sewn in as one complete page. This is not 2 pages glued together. This is one page that has been folded in half, and then it was sewn into the book, the original book, in the center here. So when they come out, the best way to take them apart, the old books apart, if you want to save these pages to put in a journal, is to keep them connected in the center. Now, if you do take apart a book and you don't have them connected in the center, either your book is newer and it's not connected in the center, or to take apart the book, you tore them out instead of taking them apart by the signature, then you can still glue them back together or use the method I'm showing you today to reinforce them. Getting a lot of technicality things here. Basically, it's a way of reinforcing the center of your folio. So this is a folio that comes out of a book. A folio is 2 pages, so 1 page, 2 page that are still connected in the center. So we're going to reinforce down the center of this. This way, when we sew this antique page into the signature of our journal, it is going to be strong in the center where we're going to be poking new holes. You can see there already are holes from the original binding of the book. So we're going to reinforce this and make this strong. That way the pages are not going to just tear right out of your journal. If you are going to sell your journals, you do want to reinforce all of your old pages, all of your thin pages. It's never a good idea if you're selling journals to just sew in old pages. They do need reinforced because either now when you're sewing them in, you're weakening them by making more holes, or over time of people working in journals, and you got to keep in mind, in journals, the pages are very rarely just flat. They normally have pockets and stuff glued to them. And the more fluffy and gator mouth your signature gets in the end, the more stress you're putting on those the centers of your pages and where you've sewn them in. So if you're selling your journals, do go to the extra step to reinforce your pages. It's very, very simple. I'm going to show it to you here. I've got a bunch of different kind of little pages here. I like to use a random assortment of sizes of pages for my junk journal signature. So I know we're going to put these in there. I don't know if I need all of these or what, but we're going to put some of these in. All right, so let's put a couple of each one of these in this signature. So again, here's the way the book came. And so if you just detach it right there, you can see where it was sewn in. It already has holes in it, but this is one sheet that when they sewed it into the book, it's folded in half and sewn in here. And we sew it in the same line generally. So we're just going to make some new holes and we're going to strengthen these. Okay. So what are you going to strengthen it with? You're going to want to have your favorite glue stick. Mine is the UHU Magic Blue Glue Stick. It is the 1.4 ounce size, and I usually link it in the video. I will link it in the description box below this video as well. But this is my favorite glue stick. It is permanent and it is very strong. So we're going to use that. And then the next thing that you're going to want is this is medical tape. This is paper medical tape. It's going to look like washi or very thin fabric. It's clear, see-through, kind of white tinted tape. This is what you use to reinforce your pages with. You could use washi tape if washi tape is all that you have, but any kind of tape that you use for this process, you have to glue down with a permanent strong glue stick. You cannot just put washi tape down the center because washi tape doesn't stay sticky for forever. So what I'm using, my favorite thing, and you're going to see why here in just a minute. If you've never used this kind of tape, stay tuned because there's a million things in your craft room you can use this tape for, but it is the best thing for reinforcing pages. It's actually made out of a very thin cloth. I'm trying to hold it up so you can see the texture. It's made out of a very thin cloth, and so it has this fabric kind of wovenness to it, which makes it very strong. And then it's see-through. So it doesn't really look see-through when I'm holding it here, but when you put it down over something, you see right through it and the tape disappears, which is the good reason, the best reason I can think of to use it, is when I use it, you don't even see it. And I like that. Book binding repair shops, they use something very similar to this to do book repairs on pages that are torn and whatnot. So anyway, it's just called medical tape. I will link it. Mine comes from Amazon, although they do have it at the dollar store. I will link the tape, the exact tape that I have and that I use, and I will link the glue sticks for you. That's really all that you need for today's project, other than like a pair of scissors. But there are also ways of decorating this. So it doesn't have to stay where it's just plain and see-through. You can stamp on this. You can decorate this. You can ink on this. It is kind of a fabric, so it does take ink quite well. But you could do lots of things to decorate it. But I like the fact that mine, it just disappears. You don't see it once it's stuck down. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to do these tiny little pages first. I know that in my signature of my journal, they are going to be right in the front. And they're very thin. I mean, they're rag paper and stuff, but they're very thin. And I believe these were from a 1700s book. So I'm going to use a little bit of something to cover up my work surface just for gluing this. The first thing you want to do is grab your book page or whatever you're gluing your tape to. whatever you're reinforcing. Sorry, words are hard today. And so grab your glue stick, take your glue stick and rub it down the center, all the way down the center of the fold line. Then you're going to take your paper tape. That's what this is, medical tape, whatever you want to call it. Wind up your glue stick a little bit. And then you just take it with your thumb. So take the tape with your thumb, put it on your glue stick, hold it on your glue stick and get glue on it. And then just continue to run that with your finger on the top over your glue stick. And then you're going to have to do this like a couple of times to get it nice and gluey, which is why I went and put the glue stick down the center of the page first, because it's hard to get enough glue on just the tape. So then after we have that part done, you're going to take your tape, leave yourself a little bit of overhang and go down the center. It's okay if you don't get it perfectly centered on the fold line. That's okay. You're just aiming to get it in the fold line, like, you know, mine is, you can't see it now. I stuck it down. That's what I'm saying. It's basically clear when it's done and dry. You can see a little bit of the blue glue under there, but that's all you can see at the moment. So anyway, leave yourself a little overhang. I've got a little overhang. I'm going to leave a little overhang here, and then I'm just going to snip it. And then I like to reinforce both sides of my page. So I'm going to then add glue here down the center of this one. And there we go. Now, if your pages are super fragile and they won't take a glue stick, then you do have to just add the glue to the tape. So if your pages are very, very fragile, you may not be able to just use a glue stick like I did, or you might have to be careful or whatever. But you can always just add it right to the tape. So there, I've got it on that one. And again, it's okay if it's not perfectly straight. It's all right. Don't worry about it. You're not going to see this. I promise you, you are not seeing this tape. Okay, so from there, our page is reinforced, and all we do is just trim off that little excess at the top, and I just trim it flush. You could fold it over if you wanted, but I think that that is just unnecessary work at this point. It's got permanent glue on it. It is not going anywhere. You are not going to see the tape. I'm just getting the extra piece off from the other side. So there's that. Our book page is reinforced. Now you can see the blue glue still. So let's set this aside and give this a chance to dry. If you need to smooth it down a little more, you can. Give that a second to dry. We're going to continue working on these, and I will show you how they look once that glue is all the way dry here in a second. Let's move on and do a different one just so I don't show you the same. So like this one has big holes in it. This one was bound together with a thick binding string. It's very old. Probably 1700s, maybe 1800s on this little tiny dictionary page. So this is a more fragile one. You just want to go one direction with your glue stick on anything that's fragile. Go one direction. Don't go and then go back. Just one direction at a time. And I got a big chunk of glue there. That's okay. Not worried about excess glue. Wind your glue stick up. Take your tape. This tape is very inexpensive at the dollar store. Like, you know, dollar stores are now $1.25, but I think you get 2 rolls at the dollar store. On Amazon, for me, it is like $3.50 with same-day delivery for 2 rolls. So it's very inexpensive. It's not going to break the bank, and the tape goes a long way, and it is just something that is really, it's necessary. Like, you know, I don't say a lot of things are necessary really, but this one is necessary. So there's that side, and we're going to flip this around and glue on this side now. I sell my journals, and no one's really ever told me that they've had a problem with pages coming out, but I have always reinforced my pages. I have seen people use washi tape, and it was actually people using washi tape that gave me this idea, because I have a lot of antique book pages, and every journal I make has antique paper and documents in it. And so I was needing a way of reinforcing those pages. So I came up with this method on my own. I'm sure other people do it. I have shown it many times, and I'm not, you know, I'm sure that other people have done it. But for me, I didn't want the washi tape, because washi tape always has like pattern on it, right? And washi tape, if you put it down the center, you can see that you've reinforced the pages. Where this one, no matter what color, like this is a very tanned old book page, no matter what color the book page is, even like a colorful page with colorful flowers or whatever, you're never going to see this tape. And so that's really why I liked it. This page is so thick it feels like two, but it is only one. I've got little bits of tape everywhere. I need to start putting them somewhere. But anyway, so I started using it because I use these antique book pages all the time, and I've never had one come apart on me, and I've taken them to shows and stuff. And you know, when you're doing a show and you've got people coming through looking at your journals, you know, maybe they've not held a journal before or whatever, they're not the most gentle with your work that you spent, you know, a month doing and making a journal. So, you know, they get a lot of wear and tear and abuse. And I have had torn pages and stuff from taking them to the shows, but I've never had a page just rip completely out of a journal. You know, when we bind them, we, you know, use the best binding method we can, but this is just another way of making your journals sturdier, stronger, and better. All right, so there's that side. Now this one has a bunch of old paper bits and glue. I'm actually going to cut a little bit of this off. I don't know if you guys can see a bunch of old paper bits and glue. And so before I move forward, now that I've got that one side glued, I can trim away on this side. And even if I do cut into the page a little bit, it's not going to be the end of the world because I've already got it reinforced from the other side. So all of that was trimmed off. Sometimes it's just old glue. Sometimes it's little bits of like the leather spine on the journal, on the book. So many different things. And so you just run it through there. The goal is to get enough UHU to really hold this down for forever. This tape is sticky. It's definitely sticky, but it's paper tape, and primarily like they use this paper tape when you go and get your blood drawn. So if you're used to that kind of paper tape that they hold your cotton ball on, it's not really the kindest on your skin. So you know that it's sticky, right? If you've ever had that kind of tape used on you, you know that it's sticky. As they always say, take those taped little cotton balls off in 10 or 15 minutes. Not even that, honestly. If you've given it a few minutes and you're not on blood thinners, you don't need 10 or 15 minutes. But anyway, it's sticky. And so I've left those on, just got busy, took my sleeve and rolled it back down and forgot whatever. And I've left those on, and yeah, they stick to your skin pretty good. So I'm going to do this one. This is the last one I'm going to do, and then I'll show you all the dried ones. These little videos are turning into 20-minute videos, and not deliberately. I just forget to look at my time. I'm going to start doing a stopwatch for myself, and that will help me stay on time. Okay, so there's that side. I'll quickly do this side. And then when you sew these into your signature, it doesn't add any extra bulk. They sew in just like every other page. You don't need to worry about anything else. Just, you know, do your normal thing with them, and they behave perfectly. You'll never have a problem with them with this tape on. And if you're looking to add a little bit of pattern or design, or if you want to make your own washi tape, I do have a video on making your own washi tape, and I will show you that as we get through the year. But if you want to make it quick, you can just stamp on this tape. Comes out great. So there's my pages. Let's look at the ones that are dry or drying. Okay, so this was the first one we did. You can see that the glue is not quite dry, but it's definitely working its way there. So then, I don't remember which one was the outside page. You can fold it either way. Once you have this tape on, so, you know, sturdy and nice. Now it's completely sealed. You don't see anything. It's perfect. And then there's this one. And so you could fold it a different direction now. Whereas before you did this, you might be afraid to double fold this antique paper because sometimes it's fragile, right? So this one's still got blue glue in it, but it will dry clear. I'm not even sure that this was the way that they were folded, but it doesn't matter. So there's that one. And here's this one. So I hope that you guys start reinforcing your old pages. I hope you enjoyed the video. It's more of a trick and technique than anything else, a tip. So there's one set of antique journal pages for one journal, and then I'm going to reinforce the rest of these, and then tomorrow's video will be about assembling the signature and sewing in that signature. The sewing in signature probably will be its own video because it does take more than 15 minutes probably. Okay guys, thanks so much. I'll see you tomorrow.